Welcome back to the Chrysalis House YouTube channel. My name is Chrysalis, and today we are going to be talking about energy neutrality. What this is referring to is how energy shows up in the body, in our vessel that carries us through this life. When I'm talking about energy neutrality and how it shows up in our body, I'm talking about a couple of different things. Most specifically, I'm talking about the feelings and the sensations that we experience in our bodies for every second that we are alive. Now, if you're anything like I was, you may experience some really intense sensations all of the time that manifest in what you might consider anxiety, sadness, grief, lethargy. We also experience sensations and feelings that we as humans choose to label as joy, happiness, fear. Like there's this wide range of labels that we give to what? Essentially, energy. You might hear me use the language that we as humans choose to label our feelings as X, Y, and Z and wonder why I am speaking like this. And it is ultimately because we as humans have decided to create labels such as grief, anxiety, fear, happiness, joy, giddiness, enthusiasm, jealousy, anger, whatever it is, to differentiate and communicate. Now, I'm not saying that this is bad by any stretch of the means. In fact, it can be quite helpful at different stages in our journey, whether we're just existing or we're intentionally attempting to heal and let go of some things that may no longer be serving us. However, in my personal experience and in what I've observed in other people, these labels on our feelings and sensations can often hold us back once we reach a certain point. Now, I've explained feelings a little bit, so let's talk about sensations. Now, this often manifests as people saying, I have a headache, or my back really hurts. Oh, I feel so sore. This is extremely common language that people use. And in fact, I used to use this language all of the time. And you might be wondering why I'm saying used to. And it's because now, given the knowledge that I have, I choose to label my feelings and sensations from an energy neutrality perspective. Once again, with the sensations in our body, this is language that we use to differentiate and communicate. But ultimately, when we apply this labeling language to both feelings and sensations, what it creates is ultimately a judgmental perspective that we and the people we are communicating with are often coming from. This isn't anything to be ashamed of, it's just something to be aware of. We as human beings love to judge things. We love to judge things. It is an enjoyable human experience, and it's very, very familiar and commonplace. Most humans don't know that at the fundamental core of every single feeling and every single sensation, no matter how it has physically manifested in the body, no matter what label applies to it in this human realm, at its very fundamental level, all it is energy. Energy neutrality is simply the practice of remembering that it does not matter what feeling you are feeling. It does not matter what sensation you are experiencing. All it is energy. You might be wondering why it's even beneficial to remember this at all, and that's completely valid. The reason why it is so beneficial to remember that all sensations and feelings, no matter how they show up in the body, no matter how you or other people may judge them, are neutral, is because you go from a place of feeling powerless to them and as though something is wrong with a certain subset of feelings and sensations to feeling empowered, knowing that all it is energy, and that so long as you have the tools in your toolbox, you can work with all of them. Now, I will be making videos in the future about how to use whatever feelings you feel in your body to do whatever it is you want to do, to use whatever sensations you are experiencing to do whatever you want to do. This doesn't mean not feeling your sensations or feelings. In fact, it means quite the opposite. It means becoming friends with them and understanding that because at their very core, all they are is neutral, that none of them are bad. Energy neutrality, to me, begins in the mind. It is an idea that you are exposed to and over time allow yourself to more deeply understand. And in my experience, only really have an embodied understanding of when you try it for yourself. My recommendation for you is that the next time you experience a feeling or a sensation in your body that you would typically judge as negative, be mindful of the thoughts you think. Do your best to choose to think differently about these feelings and these sensations. Do your best to speak differently about these feelings and sensations. Let me give you some practical real-life examples. If you're experiencing what most people label and view as a panic attack, something that I used to experience very frequently to the point where I felt like I couldn't breathe, I went to the hospital a couple times, I was on medication for it, all of it. You might be wondering how on earth it would even be possible to just view that as neutral energy. What I will say is that it doesn't happen overnight. This is a process that you train yourself to be able to do. However, you can begin by the next time you experience this very intense tightening of the chest, possibly something in your arm, being unable to breathe, or rather, feeling as though you are unable to breathe. Attempt to talk to yourself, whether it be silently in your head or out loud if that is accessible to you, with sayings like, "This is very intense energy. I have so much intense energy in my body right now. The energy in my body is extremely intense right now." Now, the beautiful thing about using this language is, one, you are not invalidating what you are feeling or sensing in any way, shape, or form. That is not at all what I am telling you to do. In fact, what I am telling you to do is more deeply honor, just from a space of neutrality. I am feeling extremely intense sensations right now. There is a lot of intense energy in my body at this moment. What you will notice is that when you label things in this way, there is a sort of defense and resistance that subsides that you may not have even been aware was there. But when you're labeling that intense energy as anxiety, there's often a judgment that comes with that, going, "This is bad, I don't like this." As difficult as it may be for the human in you to absorb and take in the fact that there is nothing wrong with this sensation, that is the ultimate truth from the infinite and quantum perspective. Another real life example is a headache. Now, I put it in quotations because that is, again, simply a human label. At the end of the day, all that you are experiencing is intense energy in your head. Now, am I saying that it necessarily feels likable? No. Can you train yourself to like it? Absolutely. However, in this case, all I am saying is that it would be beneficial to attempt to respond to the same situation differently. Remember that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, but expecting different results. And so when you have this same circumstance, this same sensation of a headache appear in your body, if you would like to experience it differently, take a chance on responding to it differently. Do your best to speak, act, and think about this sensation in your head as intense energy that has manifested this specific way in your physical body. This, like many other teachings on my channel, in my music, I may even argue every single one of them, is best absorbed through embodied practice and experience. You could listen to me talk about energy neutrality for hours, but until you take that step to respond to the feelings and sensations in your body differently, you will not experience the benefits, or rather, and perhaps most importantly to you, the evidence that this actually has value in your life. What I have noticed by practicing energy neutrality over the last almost year of my life is that sensations and feelings that used to have a hold over me to the point where I felt limited and controlled by them, and I felt as though they were a problem, they either no longer happen in my body anymore, or when they do happen, it is a vastly different experience. I no longer immediately label what's happening in my body as something being wrong. Instead, it is simply intense energy manifesting in a very interesting physical way in my physical body. That is it. And the reality of energy neutrality is that we are taking the human experience of feelings and sensations in our physical human body and speaking, thinking, and acting about it from the limitless intuitive soul perspective. This is why energy neutrality is so liberating from a soul perspective. There is no good, bad, better, or worse feeling or sensation. There are simply just feelings and sensations that vary in intensity and how they physically appear, and they are all in their own ways interesting. Let me know what you guys think about the concept and the practice of energy neutrality. Do your best to implement this slowly but surely in your life as you encounter feelings and sensations in your body that you previously would have made the decision to respond to from a place of finding a problem with it, needing to get rid of it, things like that. I will see you next time. My name is Chrysalis. Take care.